Hi friends, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while, so I haven't posted on YouTube for a really long time. I feel like I was never properly in the routine of posting on YouTube. I have decided to try and come back to YouTube and start doing a few little YouTube videos because I would like to do a little bit more of YouTube. I do a lot on TikTok already, so if you don't follow me on TikTok, go follow me. My username is Sharmassy with 2 Y's at the end. I'll put it up on the screen here. I am going to try and do a few YouTube videos. I can see my neighbours outside my house. Perfect. So for today's YouTube video, I am going to be picking my June TBR. I literally just made this like 10 minutes ago, so I'm quite excited about it, but I wrote down a bunch of little prompts and I'm going to pick them out of my TBR jar. This is my coffee cup I usually use in the morning, so eventually I'm going to get a proper jar and use that as my TBR jar, but for now this will do. I have written a bunch of little TBR prompts down onto little pieces of paper and I'm going to pick them out at random, and then I'm going to pick my June TBR based off of the prompt that it says. I'm sure you've all seen this film before on other people's channels, but I thought it'd be really fun to do. I've done a spinner before, so I've just been picking my TBR lists based off of just what I feel like mood reading each month. TBR lists, like I've honestly just been reading whatever I want. So I've sort of been reading like 3 to 6 books a month depending on how busy I've been. I think I'm gonna pick 5 and then I can just sort of pick and choose off of that list what I read. I think I'm gonna choose all my prompts first and then I'm gonna pick my books and then we're gonna talk about it. I hope you can this is like focused. A reread. That's a fun one. Okay, that is our first one. A cowboy romance. I feel like there's only one option on my TBR shelf. A book with a number in the title. I feel like I'm gonna have to do some digging there because I don't even... Wait, this is so fun. Right, that's definitely upside down. A book from a series you loved as a child. There are a few really good ones I think I could pick. This is my last one. The last book in a series. I'm gonna have to think about that one too. I do know one series that I'm on the last book for. Okay, so those are our 5 prompts. We've got a reread, we've got a book from a series you loved as a child, the last book in a series, a cowboy romance, and a book with a number in the title. I'm gonna go and choose my books and then I'm gonna come back and sit down and then we are gonna talk about them. Remember what order I picked these out in, but we're just gonna go with a random order. For my first prompt, a reread, I have chosen, I'm so excited about this, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Ever since the ACTA 6 and 7 release dates got announced, I have been wanting to reread ACTA with my whole entire heart. This was the start of my love for fantasy when I started reading again like 2 or 3 years ago. I want to do an ACTA reread so then I can read Crescent City because I do have Crescent City on my shelf and I've not read any of them. Those are also some books on my TBR that I want to read at some point. So I've got a lot of work to do, so I better get started soon. So it's sort of like a Beauty and the Beast retelling. She gets taken by this fae guy, he takes her back to his castle, she's captured, you know, and all that jazz. I don't really want to spoil it too much. I mean, like, ACTA's been out for ages, so if you've not read it, I definitely recommend it. It is super easy and fun to read, especially for if you're just starting out wanting to read fantasy books. So I definitely recommend it. I love it. I haven't read it since 2022 or 2023. Next, I have a cowboy romance. I feel like this month is the month for getting through books in series or finishing series. The book I've chosen for a cowboy romance is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I actually don't think I had another cowboy romance on my shelf. It's not usually my cup of tea. This is the second book in the Rose Hill series by Elsie Silver. She's got her Chestnut Spring series, which is super popular. Then this is her newer series, the Rose Hill series, which I think has been out for a while now, but I just haven't picked this up. I'm not always drawn to romance books at the moment. I'm definitely in my like general fiction, thriller, more like fantasy era. All of the main male characters in these series are single dads, which I think is really funny. So maybe I will end up liking it. So the cover is gorgeous and the spines all match up on my shelf, which makes me want to read it so that I can buy the next one so that I can have the whole shelf spines matching. Next, I've got a book with a number in the title. I actually had a few more of these than I thought I'd have. I've been super into thriller books recently and I honestly eat a thriller up every single time. I love them so much. I think they're so fast paced and they just keep me out of my book slump, to be fair. I have 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. And then I also ended up choosing The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I want to say Sager. It might be Sager. I don't know. This is actually a horror book. I have never really read a proper horror book before. I read a lot of thrillers, a few little like suspenseful, not scary. I'm a scaredy cat. I get scared at anything, so I'm a little bit nervous about this. It sounds super interesting and I've heard so many good things about his books and his writing. Okay, so it's not really horror. It's a heart-pounding gothic thriller from the master of suspense. Perfect. Can't wait to be scared all night and not sleep. Everyone believes that Lenora Hope is a mass murderer. When the Hope family was massacred decades ago, she was the only one left alive after that tragic night. Mute, paralysed, and confined to a wheelchair, Lenora has never been able to tell her side of the story until her new live-in caregiver, Kit, brings her a typewriter, and with one working finger, Lenora begins to type. I want to tell you everything. Oh my gosh, gagged. I'm so excited. This reminds me of, what is it called? The Silent Patient. But maybe a little bit more suspenseful and more like adult rather than YA. That made me scared, so can't wait for this. For book number 4, I have the last book in a series. I have no idea how to pronounce this title, but I have got the last series in the Medoran Chronicles series. I feel like I've been reading this series for like 2 or 3 years and I just need to finish it. This one is called Bardasia? I don't know. So this is the 5th book in the Medoran Chronicles series. I think they actually traditionally published the Medoran Chronicles like a few months ago. The first book in the series is called Akane. I love this series. It's super duper like teen YA, little sprinklings of romance, fantasy series. I'm just like, say less. I'm obsessed. It follows Alex, who is our main protagonist, and she pretty much, the whole story is in the first book. She is sent off to a boarding school by her parents and she ends up walking through this door and she finds herself in this magical land called Medora. And she meets these 2 boys there who end up becoming her friends and they take her back to this magical school called Akane where she has all these powers, and then there's a villain and she ends up being the chosen one, and yeah, it's really good. You get the points. It's super duper fun and I love this series so much, and there's a lot of found family and there's been a little bit more sprinklings of romance in the last book that I read. Lastly, I have a book from a series you loved as a child. I would say I was a teenager when I read these books, but I absolutely love them and I started my reread of them last year, so I'm just gonna go from what book I was up to when I started my reread, but it is the Percy Jackson series. So I've picked Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse, which is the 3rd book out of the 5 books in the series. I love Percy Jackson so much. I recently watched the Disney Plus TV show and I'm literally obsessed with it. I can't wait for the 3rd season. The 3rd season follows this book, so maybe that's kind of fun. I get to read this and then when the 3rd season comes out I will have like recently read it. If you don't know about Percy Jackson, he is a demigod, so he's half god, half human, and he ends up going to this camp called Camp Half-Blood and he goes on quests with his little trio of friends, and it's also fun. If you've not read it, this is your sign. I know it's like a teen children's book, but I'm literally obsessed with this series and I'm 23 years old. Those are the 5 books I chose for my TBR this month. I feel like I just yapped a whole lot about a whole lot of nothing, but that's okay. It's fun. I hope you enjoyed this video if you made it to the end. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.